This is an impromptu hangout. We started to just do a off the air sort of internal. What do you call it? We're trying to get our ducks in a row, and I started going on this rant about the GOP losing it, and I thought, you know what? Let's just record this. I was talking to Warthog and Cork, and I was saying, you know, that the there is no more. The GOP has really lost it. And I know I'm just gonna go ahead and let you people tell me I told you so. Okay. I know what's going to happen. All the people are going to come into the comments and say, "I told you, Arson Tony. I told you 10 years ago. You needed to get out of the GOP." And for some reason, I had hope. You know, I had hoped that the Tea Party and people would go in there like Ted Cruz and all these people who are name some more names. Um, all these people would go in and they would change the GOP, but it is just screwed. You know.
Well, pretty much. I mean, anything outside even your local level, even the local level to a small extent, is influenced by money.
It's not even money. It's just some weird sort of perverted power trip. It's almost like we've got plenty of money. We've got some weird plan to screw up. I don't know what it is. What is it? It's not money. It's power. It's something else besides power. It's some sort of perverted. It's some sort of perversion of our government. If they were just after money, I'd almost like to shake their hand. Or if they were almost, if it was almost like they wanted to have power, I could almost respect that, right? But it's some sort of perversion.
Well,
Boehner,
it gets back to the founders of the country, and if you look at George Washington, he could have been king in effect, but it's people of integrity who just want to serve and get out versus a career, a way to entertain oneself through the position. They all look at it now as a continuing, ongoing career that they're concerned about holding that office, and that's one of the major problems that I see is, we talk about term limits from time to time. I mean, the power of that is great to let somebody know that you're here for a purpose and it's to serve the people and not yourself.
Oh yeah, I mean, look at some of the politicians that are in office until their 90s. And
look
they
at
do
Jay
nothing.
Rockefeller. Look at Jay Rockefeller, a very wealthy family. Just sheiks of American oil, and goes to a state of West Virginia who he could care less about, becomes the governor, becomes the senator. I mean, look, the money and power, the influence, I mean, and this plays out time and time again in different forms. That's just one example. And is it really about a country and its constitution and the people being in charge of the government?
Look at the attorney general nominee. You think you think to yourself, oh, this is kind of this is funny because you think, oh, the GOP will wear this girl out, right? You think after Holder, there's no way we could let some weirdo wacko leftist come in here and be attorney general, but no, no, let's uh, let's have another weirdo wacko attorney general following his footsteps. What the hell? And we have the majority in the Senate and in the House, and we're just gonna confirm this lady like she's not even like she's some Baptist minister. My God.
It's
What?
probably some concession they made to Obama that we'll approve. We'll approve her if you approve.
No,
I,
no, no. It's a weird perversion. It's a psychedelic trip that they cannot get out of. I don't know how to describe it. They are so off their rockers that they don't even know how to be. They don't even know how to contest. They have no vision or understanding of what conservatism is anymore. They have lost it. They have lost their freaking minds. It is. I mean, it is weird, people. I'm telling you, it's weird out there.
Yeah, well, I vote conservative, even though I don't agree with a lot of what the Republican Party has. But if I voted Libertarian for offices that are close, I know that could cost the Conservative Party the seat.
I know, and
And
I
I hate
preach
that.
this stuff. How many videos have I got that say, "Come on, guys, you get 10%. You independents are, you bunch of losers. Dang it, you gotta vote. You gotta vote Republican, right?" How many videos do I have like that? And then how many times has the Republican Party screwed me up the rear end?
Yep. And I
You
hate
know,
having to do it, but I don't want to have I'm taking
what
the better of two evils.
what is the purpose?
Well, the purpose is those guys writing the big checks, Tony. They're not singing the same song you are. They see the purpose and the ability
But
to get the.
what is it though?
I
What
mean,
is the purpose? What is the purpose of the GOP anymore? What is the purpose of the Republican Party?
they're in survival, basically.
No,
Well,
how can you survive when there's no when there's no philosophy anymore?
That's
when
how
the
they
entire
survive, Tony. They become ambiguous. They're
when the entire
They
philosophy of
become
the
to not do anything is to do something, Tony. It's basically an act of omission that you're describing. They're not doing what the party platform or the people would think they claim to do. It's an act of omission, Tony.
it's,
It's it,
there is something. Where's my USB cable? Dadgummit. When we started this, we weren't going to be on the air. Now I'm on the air by crappy. I'm so tired I can't even talk. I was telling Warthog. I'm in Cork. I was telling Warthog about the story about today. It was crazy. And we worked a 12-hour day. Anyway, I'm so tired I can't even talk. But this is ridiculous. I'm trying to get my camera going. Anyway, you know what else today? I got the stinking. Hold on a second. I got the stinking patches today. I think this is a GOP conspiracy. I get the this box from China today, right? And I'm thinking, okay, do I open this box? Is it going to have another anthrax attack in it like I went through last time, and I had to go to the emergency room and take I don't y'all. I know I never. I'm kind of joking about that, but anyway, now I really think twice about it. Now I'm really paranoid. But anyway, I open this box. It says "Made in China," and there's our stinking patches in there, right? Guess what? There's no Velcro on the back of them. 500 patches.
oh my god.
no
No,
Velcro.
no Velcro on the back. And I know, strike me down right now, Jesus. I promise you, I ordered them with Velcro on the back.
Did you contact the company?
No, this was like when I got home at like 6:30. There was a package on my steps,
Oh, okay.
and I opened the box and very carefully because I thought I heard it ticking, and so, but it wasn't. It was a bomb, but it wasn't a real bomb. It was there's no Velcro on the back of the patches bomb.
Definitely,
So,
definitely talking to the company if I were you. So,
I think what happened was the original order had the Velcro, and through all the changes, somehow, you know how I kept going back to them saying, no, do this, no, do that. And then finally they said, oh, how about this? And we said, okay, that. Well, then the last order somehow didn't have the Velcro on the back of it. Through all the changes that we made, or I made, whoever. So I'll fix it. I'm gonna go ahead and send out the patches anyway, just for the fun of it. But I'm gonna tell people with a little note saying you'll get some more patches with Velcro on the back of them. These you can sew on your Boy Scout, you know. Sure.
I tried to sew on a patch, it'll look like a first grader sewed on a patch.
I remember when I was the scoutmaster for Alex's troop, and I would always sew. I was like, my wife would she'd say, "Oh, let's just take this to the lady and let her, the seamstress, and let her sew the patches on." I was like, by God, I'm sewing the patches on myself. I'd get in there with the sewing machine and, I mean, it was bad. I thought, what is wrong with the sewing machine?
I'd be doing it by hand.
Stitches were like all over the place, and the bobbin wouldn't work, and how the bobbin gets all tangled up in the back, and
I've never used a sewing machine, so I have no clue.
well, usually I do a pretty good job, but every time I tried to sew a patch on for Alex, it was like, it was an octopus of thread coming off of it in the end.
Yep, I can just tell you right now, I can sew a button on, and that's as far as my sewing goes.
By hand, yeah.
I had to do a lot of it in the military because I was told, go fix that and come back for inspection. It was like, oh.
I've actually tried sewing buttons on with a sewing machine before. Have you ever tried that?
No.
You can roll it. You can roll the. Where's my camera? Why is it not on? You can roll the. You can almost do like a manual sewing job with the sewing machine. You just don't use the foot pedal. You just turn the wheel on the side.
Oh yeah, slow, yeah.
And so I would like stick it through the hole and pull the button back and stick it through the other hole and stick it through the other hole. And my wife was like, "You're nuts." I said, "I hate sewing by hand. I have a perfectly good machine. Why would I do that?"
Yeah, I taught myself how to sew buttons on because my father raised me, so he didn't even know how to sew, and he served in the military. He could sew a button on, and that was about it.
Where's your settings at? Why does it not say?
Settings are like your icon right next to the Hangout. There we go. Now I can see you.
There we go. I was going to pull my.
So you don't think there's any chance of you being able to exchange or have them repair those patches to the way you originally ordered
You
them?
think we're gonna? You know what? That would be the ultimate challenge. I think Donald Trump should have that as a challenge on his that thing he has.
Oh.
Send patches back to China and get them put on there.
Oh,
that would be funny.
With how many patches you've ordered from them, I'm sure that you could work something out.
Well, I'm going to call them tomorrow and just kind of, in a humorous. I think I'll video it. Just call them saying, "By the way, where's my freaking Velcro?" I have a feeling I'm going to be buying Velcro and putting it on with super glue, and for my pants, or I guess I could sew it on, but I've got 500 of these things. What am I going to do?
Are they about the size of a business card?
I'd put return to sender on the box is what I'd do.
Hey, I was going to ask, are they about the size of a business card?
Yeah.
Could hand them out as business cards.
I wish I had them. They're out in the truck. I wish I had them. I actually did make a little video, and but I'm pretty sure the last one of those packages I got from China did have anthrax in it, because I'm just kidding about the anthrax, but I tell you, I got so sick I had to go to the emergency. I had boils on my body, I had infection, I had antibiotics for 2 weeks, and I'm sure it wasn't that stupid package, but my God, I'm still paranoid.
The amount of radiation those packages go through, I mean,
what do they do? What happens?
All the packages go through decontamination.
Oh, they do?
Yes.
Well,
ever since that anthrax scare.
Okay, I feel better.
You'll actually see sometimes they'll actually have, like entire shipments are put on hold. I've had this happen with track packages before, and they go out to someplace in Colorado, where I guess they're like triple checked or something like that.
Man, that's a lot of
It's,
freight to have to radiate if you think about what comes in from China. I don't even know how they pull that off. I mean,
it's just like anything else. An automated machine does it all.
It was probably some kind of thing I got from some lumber pile.
Yeah, I was gonna say anthrax is a naturally occurring bacteria. You can actually get it
Yeah,
in the wild.
yeah.
I mean, normally this stuff in the wild is extremely difficult to catch.
It was something that I got. The doctor wanted to put me in the hospital. I've got a video of all that, but I've never published it for some reason. I think I was afraid to.
I know you're talking about it. I remember seeing a video of you talking about it.
I've got video. I've got video of me in the hospital. But I never published it for some reason. I didn't want people to think I was weak and puny and
Weak.
you were human, huh? You didn't want to appear to be human.
Yeah, I didn't want to think I was human. I didn't want my customers to worry that I couldn't finish their $1 million projects or something. You know? At that time, I was working on my $800,000 house, and I thought, this guy can't think I'm in the hospital. I have to keep it a secret, you know.
Yeah. By the way, did that silver, whatever that silver stuff that you got, work on your infection on your leg?
I'll tell you one thing. It might be a coincidence, but my freaking leg cleared up. I mean, it was quick. And see, I think that was a leftover. Well, I did get a ricochet on the leg, and it did get infected. But it got infected awful easy. I've never had anything happen that soon, that quick after the previous thing. But it was just like gone in a week. I was really impressed. I don't know if it was the antibiotics or the colloidal silver.
That's it.
I'm going to chalk it up to like being a combination of the two.
Modern medicine and old-fashioned medicine. My research is on that colloidal silver. You know, it's both nothing negative about it, but a lot of people saying positive stuff, and just people are just saying, it's just your brain working.
Well, it's funny because I don't know if you've watched that. If you watch that video, my tile guy he's really scientific about it. He has the ppm meter, that he even monitors the parts per million in the distilled water. So he's pretty scientific about it when he makes it. So
Yeah, I mean, it could just be a placebo effect. People, your brain does miraculous things. Your body does.
And the thing about it is, I've always healed pretty quickly, and so it's hard for me to know what it was that.
Lucky you.
I get cuts. Being in construction, I drilled a hole through this hand all the way through the meat right there. One time, my drill slipped off. It was a Phillips head bit too. It wasn't even a drill bit. It went all the way through the meat, and when I pulled it back, there was drywall crap on the end of the bit. So I had pulled that back through my skin, and my hand was, kind of swollen up. I swear in like 3 days or 4 days, like a week, it was gone. It was healed. So I've been blessed with I hate to say that because I'm good age.
Knock on wood.
Yeah.
I get a cut.
My
I'm diabetic. I get a cut and I get infected. I get an infection. So,
like this little, like I've got, what were we doing? I had splinters all in my hand the other day because I was throwing some OSB around. It's oriented strand board. It's a replacement for plywood. And I had splinters all over. Like here's, anyway, you can't see them. But there were lots of little places, and they're just all gone now. Anyway, I'm going to hush because I'll die of infection tomorrow. Careful.
No, you won't.
But I don't know. What were we talking about, Warthog, before court came?
You started on the conservative GOP let down.
Yeah.
And we
Patches.
transitioned into medical
Yeah,
chat.
yeah. The patches led into medical chat.
Home remedy. Uh, the patches were a big disappointment because when I finally realized what they were, I was all excited, and I pulled out my phone to make a video. And right in the middle of the video, it was like, um,
No
hmm,
Velcro.
Oh man, I mean that's just a gut punch right there. No Velcro. Oh,
where is it?
Some people are going to say that teaches you for getting them manufactured in China.
Well, you can't. You know what? These people are nuts because you can't find this company. Actually, what did they say? There are companies that actually advertise that they make things in America, but the things that you get from them aren't made in America. Have you ever noticed that? It's like
they
New
have
Balance.
two product lines.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, yeah.
it's like New Balance shoes. I remember the first time I bought Alex a pair of New Balance, I was like, these are made in America, and I got them and they weren't, and I was like, what the heck? And I went
They're
and read
made in India.
the fine print, and it said something like only like 10% of our shoes are made in America, and I was like, what?
Yeah, you got to look for the Made in America flag on the side of the box. Yeah, but tennis shoes are so freaking expensive for what they are. It's just crazy.
If you ever want to have fun in a mall, just walk into the stores and say, "Yeah, can I help you?" Say, "Yeah, I want to see everything you've got in here that's made in America, boy."
Well, it's way back in the back corner of the store, bottom shelf. There's 2 items.
Any clothing store in particular, you'll be lucky
Well,
to find
what
anything.
what can you name that's actually made in America? I mean, electronics, clothing,
Paracord.
yeah. I mean, I guess there's some Ford trucks that are made in America, but
Toyotas.
yeah, I guess there are some Toyota. We got
Actually,
Tennessee.
Toyotas are probably more than a Ford or a Chevy.
Yep.
all that money's going back to Japan, but
Yeah,
we got a
but that's
VW,
still
we got a
employing people.
Volkswagen plant in Chattanooga now. That's pretty cool.
Well, at least Japan's an ally, if you could say that, compared to a China
That's true.
standoff. I mean, it's all dissolved now. I mean, there's no thoroughbreds, or very few of them. I mean, I guess you could get you some SOE gear. I don't know.
You know what these stinking Germans did? They came over here, I don't know how many years ago, and started the plant here in Chattanooga, right? And we were like, okay, as long as you don't bring your stinking union, as long as you don't bring
Oh,
the
the Volkswagen plant. Yeah.
as long as you don't bring in the UAW or whatever they are, we'll give you all these tax breaks, right? So they did 2 or 3 years down the road. Guess what? Now they've started some sort of work council, or they've allowed the employees to, you know what I mean? It's like a slow infiltration. And
It's
What killed
gradualism.
Detroit?
and
Yeah,
in Southeast Tennessee, we just don't like unions. We don't like them. And
look at
so,
Detroit.
and Bob Corker even said, "Look, dudes, you guys bring the union. We're gonna zap your tax breaks or tax credits or whatever."
Yeah. Well, I
And
live in Wisconsin, which is a big union state. Yeah, at least in my area, every paper mill is union, and to even get a job in that place, you basically got to be a relative of one of the workers to get a job in them.
well,
Yep.
when I left high school, I had gone to a vocational. I went to a building trades class in high school. I went half a day to high school and half a day to building trades because I knew what I wanted to do in life when I was 10 years old. And so when I got out of high school, I got calls from the union reps, and they took me down there, and they were like, hey, we want you to take the entrance exam. The entrance exam for the carpenters union is 9 pages of math. It's very exclusive. In other words, only the members. It's like it's very. And I know this sounds weird, and nobody's going to understand it, but it's only the people they really want to be in the union are in the union. In other words, this is the carpenters union, okay? I'm not talking about the pipe fitters union or the UAW or whatever. I'm talking about the carpenters union, okay? And I'm sure back in the day, back in the 50s, it was probably run by the Klan or something, you know. But anyway, I passed the test, you know, went down there for my interview, and they're like, and I was like, you know, what do union carpenters do? And they're like, oh, you know, you build forms, concrete forms, and all this mundane stuff. And I said, well, I don't want to. I want to design and build buildings. And they were like, what? You don't do that in a union. And I was like, okay, I'm out of here. And actually it was one of my friend's father who was in the union. I got in trouble, and they basically disowned me because I didn't join the union. But the problem is, there's no creativity, there's no individuality, it's really depressing.
Yeah, it is. I had a friend as a contractor here that built homes. I mean, did everything. Hardworking guys. I mean, a family of them. And he got worried that, you know, when the construction industry started backing off, he went and got the proverbial union job with the school system, thinking he could support his family better that way in some hard times. And he got his first day of work, and, you know, after they did all the training and stuff. And I mean, to make a long story short, he used his entire day for two people to go install a paper towel rack at a school, and they treated that as a full day's work. And two of them putting a paper towel rack in a bathroom, and it never really picked up from there. It was just a designed way to basically turn the most remedial of task into a career.
Right, and when I got older, I became a project manager for a nonprofit, and I started learning about Davis-Bacon wage rates, which are basically set up for, you know, government-funded projects that set up minimum wage rates for unions. It's ridiculous, you know. If you're working if the union is, well, first of all, if it's government-funded, you're basically going to have a union involved, and those people are basically paid twice an hour what your typical. You know what I mean? Y'all understand? Have you ever heard of Davis-Bacon wage rates?
Well, you'd love Scott Walker.
They're basically minimum wage rates for unions that own government-funded jobs. And
go to the city of New York and work. You want to You want to see unions in action. You'll turn a $17 or $20 an hour job into a 60. You got to have a water boy to like provide water to somebody. Let's say somebody's going to change a light bulb. It might involve 3 or 4 or 5 people. I mean, you have somebody to provide them water, somebody to provide, you know, that's an expert in the ladder, somebody that's an expert in, I mean, every little aspect of what they did. And it's like cost prohibitive to change a light bulb. I mean, it becomes a $500 light bulb change.
Yeah, well, in Wisconsin, you know, that's why, you know, you've heard Scott Walker before, right?
Yeah.
Wisconsin governor.
Oh yeah.
And he pretty much.
He's actually, we talk about conservatives. I mean, you know, give him his due. I mean, he's actually one of those who's walking the walk. I mean,
he he took on the unions and won.
Didn't he win the straw poll recently for in Wisconsin, or what was it? He just.
Well, let's see.
I think it was an
election. Oh, okay.
There was
there
was a recent gathering. Yeah, there was like a conference or something he may have gotten. I don't know. I don't follow it that close,
but he's like a, you know, one of those people in the Conservative Party that's. Oh, good night, buddy. Okay. Alex is going to bed. But yeah, I know Scott Walker's one of those people to watch, really.
I mean, there are good people out there. You know, we started off talking about the GOP, and I, I don't. I look at people's actions. I mean, that's the way I was raised. I mean, don't look at their words, look at their actions, and that's kind of, where I'm at. And quite frankly, I mean, Scott Walker is a good example of somebody who, gave some words and followed them up with actions. Um, so
How
that's
do
a.
you explain though the fact that Boehner even? I mean, I know how, but how do you explain to millennials, people, young conservatives coming up? How do you explain to them that he even kept his job without saying the obvious that it's just he's part of the establishment? You know, I don't know how there's no effort to salvage the GOP. There's just no effort. There,
No,
Well,
that's the problem with Walker too. Is I'll say this: is he's an old school conservative. He's not bending on a lot of the you know uh, topics that the millennials want in a conservative. They get that in a Democratic party, but they don't get it in the conservative. And we need a representative that's going to bend on whether you agree with it or not, pro-choice or you know
Well, that's part of it too. These party systems have painted everyone in these little boxes of you subscribe to this entire list of things if you're a member of it, and that's
but no,
so divisive.
but no, it used to be good though. The list used to be, true conservatism, but now it's
Oh, you
not.
just use
It's
firearms
like
alone. I mean,
Boehner.
just use firearms alone. I mean, Second Amendment rights. Okay, I mean that's quite frankly not a party issue. There was a bunch of people like Bloomberg who said, "I've got 500 gazillion dollars to the party, in effect that will champion my message here," and then the politicians are like, "Step right up, write your check and join our plank, our platform." And it had nothing to do with by and large Democrats feeling that way necessarily about it, and that kind of thing goes on. That's what I'm talking about. These co-opting of people. I mean, most people are probably libertarian if they stopped and really ironed out their thoughts and emotions about life. But
yeah, that's
it,
what I am.
and we've just and it's a politician's favorite weapon. Be a member of my party. What's that mean in the end of the day? When you walk into that booth, you get to throw the D or the R and go home, and they're happy, and you're screwed.
Yep. I know when you talk about Bloomberg, basically anytime he steps in to basically any state besides like California and New York, where it's so anti-gun, those really anti-gun states, but he threw I can't remember how many million into the getting Burke elected governor here, and she lost big time. I mean, she took basically two counties that were given, but not by the margin she even thought.
Kind of made me think of a good point. We see some races, if we're going to talk politics here, where enormous amounts of money have lost to people who had a principle or idea because it resonated with the people, and that gives me hope that hey. Even if you've got a quadrillion dollars, it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get the vote, and we see that in the gun arena, especially that there's still people who are thinking for themselves and can see through a lot of crap. And I don't know. This is a big topic. I can go on and on with it, but
Oh yeah,
the
Wisconsin's a
question is
key.
why does Boehner remain in power? Basically, they become demigods in effect. They become so powerful, so connected, so controlled. And here, at the end of the day, these people who want to be on the committee that puts money back in their state or their district, they have to kiss the ring to get to be on that
That's what's
board.
amazing to me. If I was a new congressman, if I was a new House of Representative member, right, and I went up there, I would. There's no way I would follow. And I know people say this, and they change once they're there because what they do is they come to you and say, "Hey, Tony, would you like this committee membership? And you can chair this committee, and you can be an important politician, and we'll, as long as you can, as long as you go." go our way on these issues, we'll give you these committee assignments.
Or they'll say, we'll vote this way when it comes up to
Yeah. I mean, can you imagine being a new, libertarian that won a position in the Republican Party and actually trying to make a difference? I mean, somebody was saying, who was it? Somebody posted the other day, I made some comment, and they were like, well, all it takes is a person submitting a bill to. I was like, dude, you have no idea. These things have to go through committees, and these committees have people assigned to them that do what the hierarchy wants them to do, because that's why they were placed there in the first place. And all it has to do, it dies in committee, and your little bill will never see the light of day. That's how it works.
I will say this. I mean, if you were, under that ideals to go there, say you manage to get elected, House of Representatives, it's going to be the quickest 2 years of your life, because you're going to be basically 2 years and out. If you sit there and, shouting from the rooftops, trying to actually get stuff done.
You know what I would do, though? I would hold a press conference.
Try to get everybody to cover it.
I would hold a press conference once a week. If I was stuck in Washington during session, I would hold a press conference once a week, and I would say, these assholes, I tried to do this yesterday, and they did this. I tried to submit this legislation, and it was killed here. This is what I tried to do, and this is what's happening to your country. When did it become? I want to know. I wish I could.
We hold politicians accountable because they're the face or the talking head, but it's really the people who are not engaged in their government. They've been dumbed down through our education system. They don't hold these people accountable. It doesn't actually take that many people getting motivated over a subject.
It's like a snowball, though. The people let the snowball go at the top of the hill, but they didn't mean for it to get so big that they couldn't stop it. They didn't have any idea how big the snowball was going to get, and at some point you can't stop it. And that's what's wrong now. Like I was.
Yeah, you got a good point. You've got a good point. It's a snowball effect. I mean, but okay, think of Gruber. What did we see? Goobergate or whatever, Gruber, and lying to the people for lack of knowledge. Selling a lie by design, being ambiguous. I mean, this is criminal behavior, for crying out loud, in my mind, and I think most people's minds.
Well,
the open deception that takes place is staggering.
But I want somebody to help me with this research. At what point in our history did individual congressmen become unequal? Was it always, and maybe this is my lack of knowledge about history, at what point in our history did there become a Speaker of the House, and at what point did people, like every congressperson, not have the right to enter legislation and it be considered and voted on? At what point? Because I'm thinking, okay, I run for office, I raise a big stink, and somehow I get lucky, God's with me, and I get lucky, I win, and I'm there, and it's the same old. I want to change. I want to enter gun legislation. I want to enter legislation to repeal gun laws. Well, at what point in time did it become that you couldn't do that?
It's actually what you call house rules. Okay, so there's a set of rules within the body itself that they create for themselves, and basically the power structure has evolved to minimize what you've just described.
I know, but when did that happen?
I don't have a date. I'm
sure that. Just from my own personal.
Within the last 200 and some odd years.
Yeah, the last 200 years. In 1892, that would be interesting to know, though. On this day, we stopped letting average Joe, who was elected by
But
his
it's
constituents.
all gradualism, though. See, it's not profound. And I think this is
Yeah,
where the American people with social media can start suddenly seeing the shock value of what the heck happened. It's so hard to learn all these nuances that's taken place in our government, but we see the compounded effect of, oh, crap, we got a Speaker of the House who's basically like another little prince or king or queen of the kingdom here. I mean, it's an unintended consequence that we really need to correct. I mean, I say term limits. I mean, there's lots of ways people try to look at things to correct the balance of power and the problems that we have. But yeah, Tony, I'm sure. I mean, there's a history there, and it's not the way it was intended
and
to
see,
be.
and you said term limits. That made me realize that system creates an atmosphere where people do not want to be for term limits because automatically in the first 2 years you're elected, you can't get crap done. You got to kiss butt for
Tony,
2 years. You got
we've
to work.
already got we've already got a system that the best and brightest minds of our country don't want anything to do with. They go
Yeah,
on and
that's
run corporations. They go
yeah.
on and become something else in life because they're only going to be basically trashed for their beliefs if they don't sign on to some mega donor's perspective. In effect, I
Yeah.
mean, it's that's another part of the problem. It's the best and brightest people won't have anything to do with politics.
I will tell you this. We had a governor here, Tommy Thompson. After he was done in office, basically went out, got a job, on this big company's, board, and got paid buku money because he was governor.
Hmm.
Basically, and that's what happens with these politicians, when they get tired of doing it, and that's what I think should happen. Is we should instate these, term limits. The term limits would make a difference.
If you
It's a
that's the
very
point I was
valuable
trying to make
tool.
earlier is that if you had term limits, the 2 years or 4 years that someone had would be very much important to them, and they wouldn't be screwing around trying to get into the system, work their way up, kissing butt, trying to
Well, don't
figure
be
Just
out
like
how
our
to.
president, there should be 2 terms.
Yeah, don't think butt kiss and all that. These guys become lobbyists as soon as they step out of the halls of the Congress. So, they're see that's the problem. Once again, it is a career. It's viewed as a career. It's usually one of two things. It's a career to establish money and power, or somebody who has so much damn money they just only have one hobby left in life to do. It's not a new boat or car. It's to
That
be in charge of something.
Yeah, that's
Kind of go down in history.
you got a lot of these people. Look at what our governor Haslam, Tennessee Governor Haslam is worth what? How many billions of dollars? Being governor just has to be a hobby for him. You know,
Exactly.
in Corker, he's worth I don't know 60, 70 million. I thought he was worth more, but I heard the other day he wasn't worth, but just 60 or 70
But
million. you know,
let's hope he can find a trailer to park in the
yeah,
Capitol lawn that suits
but
his new style. I mean,
at some point, the money becomes no object or becomes no, when you have enough money that you can't spend it in your lifetime, then it becomes a matter of, okay, now I have, world domination on my mind.
Yeah, your children can't spend that money in all their lifetimes.
Yeah, yeah, that's funny.
I
And I
could
think
live off the interest.
Corker, he has a basic, because I've met him and talked to him and worked for him. He has a basic work ethic. He has a basic conservative ethic, but it's not. It's almost like moderate conservatism. In other words, he's physically responsible, and he's very,
well,
that.
most people start off with excellent intentions, but as soon as they get their foot into the door in the system, the system itself is corrupting, and those that want to maintain their position in the system have to somewhat change, almost for lack of a better term, their values and their principles. I mean, because there's so much pressure applied to win favor, if you will, of those that are, for lack of a better term, power brokers. I mean, it's that's I mean, so I mean, Bob Corger and people. I mean, I see so many politicians like, yeah, okay, yeah, good people, whatever. At least when they're talking. But once again, the actions, and their actions start changing. You see the actions change. It's like they're trying to appease a group of people that they probably never tried to in their life before. I mean, do you support, safety for children? Of course you do. Well, it gets them wound around the axle of changing who they are.
Yeah. But the children, the saving your children works for everything. You can apply that to guns, you can
Well,
apply it to cars,
it's going to happen in guns. Here's the new one
the air.
with the
Yeah.
newest one's going to be, do you want free chocolate cake on Fridays? Yes or no. And then right underneath it, do you want children to be safe from guns? So you'll draw the crowd out that wants the free cake, and then underneath of it, they'll see an item on the ballot to say that, we need to remove this type of, and that's what Bloomberg and the group has done. If you notice, they normally are pushing for two issues on a ballot. One that'll draw out the crowd that they like, a very simple, basic ballot issue, or they look for those that already exist, and then they bundle it with this what we saw happen out in Washington. So I mean, it's a very this is all strategic, devious work at play. It's not people straight up. Is it right or wrong? It's all calculated, and that's, once again, I'll point back to the link GQ gave us on how politicians work. Very, if you want answers, there it is.
I just wish oh, you said GQ. I was thinking G-Webs when you said GQ. I wish G-Webs would get. I wish he'd get more involved with us as crazy people. I consider myself kind of crazy on this stuff, and people look at me kind of like I'm crazy, but I've decided I don't care. Because like my wife the other day was like, "What is that?" She saw the repealgunlaws.com T-shirts, and I was like, "Yeah, look at this, honey. Isn't that cool?" She was like, "You're nuts." She said, "Why do you want to repeal all gun laws?" I was like, "Yeah, isn't that fun?" You're crazy. And I was like, I can't believe I married a Democrat. Damn.
Yeah, Tony, I gotta say, you did not pick an easy fight.
I want to repeal bad laws. I mean, I want to repeal. I mean, I think you said it, Tony, or somebody, but we elect these people. They think that they're there just to create some new control over people. I mean, when are they going to start? We don't. The message of you need to go and not think of your position as controlling. What's the new control? And see, that's the problem. All the inputs are people with money wanting a control that will give them advantage or leverage in their business or their cause, and that's why we only see that. But we know that there's time. I mean, how many cities and towns, like, you can't tie your horse up to this post on Sunday because it was laws that were passed in the 1900s, whatever.
Yeah.
And they never get repealed. We talk about. I love the concept of sunsets on laws where, just like we saw with the assault weapons ban or whatever they did.
94, yeah. 94.
That is a proper way to pass a law.
That would be a great constitutional amendment.
Yeah, you're talking about you can't wash a donkey on your front porch law.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Cork. What'd you call that? Front porch law?
Yeah, the front porch law. You can't wash a donkey on your front porch.
Oh.
Serious, it is a law.
Yeah.
Well, it's like people will tell me, I'll fuss about the NRA or the gun owners in America, and they'll send me articles, and they'll say, see, it's like, who was it, Mule? He sent me an article about SIG challenging the ATF, and I said, okay, I'm going to hear you. I'm going to go check out your little link. I go to the link, and guess what it is? It's an open letter from SIG saying, we're going to challenge you, man. We're gonna say we don't like this. We're gonna say this ain't right, man. It didn't have anything to do with the legality. It didn't have anything to do with them challenge them in court or anything. It was a letter. It was an open letter saying, "We defy you, man."
So Sig,
It
so
didn't
what
have anything.
you're talking about something that plays out every day and is what's killing us. The
Yeah,
perceptions, they're all about perceptions and
that's
not
exactly
realities.
right. Perception.
They're
And
all about.
they created the perception that Mule fell for that I said that I've always stated from the beginning, and this is the problem I have. That's all it is a perception. They created the perception in gun lovers' minds that with this arm brace, the perception was that they were challenging the ATF, when really they were just creating a cool product to sell people. That's all it was. There was no real big challenge there, and there still isn't.
Well,
It's just perception.
I think it depends on how you define challenge, but it opened a
What
door.
you know how I
It
consider
opened
you
a
know what I you know
door.
how I define challenge? It's called get your money, get your attorney, and go to court.
Oh,
That's a challenge.
agreed. That's a
It's
direct
not
challenge. That's a direct.
it's not a come out in the schoolyard and we'll fuss at we'll yell at each other, and see who wins. It's not a shouting
Yeah.
match.
I agree. I mean, but there's direct and indirect challenges, and I would call the fact that they've made the ATFs now go. I mean, hey, look, you got the ATF with a letter that says there's no improper way to hold a pistol or a brace, and then you've got another letter saying it changes the classification from to an SBR the way you touch it. I mean, so that in effect created it's not a challenge of the law. I agree, but it opened a door, if you will, to like people stop and say, this is maybe something after
Whatever.
the.
You call it a challenge, I call it a PR stunt.
Well,
Yeah.
okay, it could be both.
Yeah. Which is fine. I mean, I'm trying to find an M11A1 right now to buy. It's not that I don't like SIG. What, honey? Okay. Yes, honey. Yes, dear.
I mean, there's lots of opinion out there on it, and people are free to have
Yeah.
it. But the good thing is there's a debate going on that wasn't before, and that's where I call, the it's got people talking and thinking at least for where they otherwise wouldn't have been.
Well, whatever. I guess. I hate. I don't know. Yeah. I guess there is I understand that they have given the ATF some rope to hang themselves with, and there's some value there. But all I'm saying is that just like this other article that I was sent by somebody else that was where this legislator is entering legislation for nationwide reciprocity. Well, why the freak do we have a freaking concealed carry law in the first place? You should be able to carry a gun without having to have a license. And that's what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? We've conditioned ourselves to accept that. You know, you know what I mean?
Well, I contend that a federal law in the supreme, a supreme law of the land, so to speak, enumerated in the Constitutional Bill of Rights, is something that you cannot. How do you make this? I guess what I'm saying, there are instances where, like, a state couldn't make a law to ban your speech. A state couldn't make a law to ban your inalienable rights, if you will. So where did suddenly the power come from to say you can't cross a state line with a gun? Gets back to the use of commerce law now, not tax law, but commerce law, to what I would say infringe upon a right. I mean,
right, and that's where they dig deep and say, oh, interstate commerce, we can manage that, we can regulate that. Well, we've allowed them to regulate that. So I don't know. That's why I don't get all excited about this stuff. Honestly, but I mean, I know I should, but I, anyway, this wasn't supposed to be a real hangout anyway. So
It wasn't supposed to be.
I can say whatever I want to.
I was ready to say we're tired. Let's go to bed.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to because my wife just gave me the high sign. She's like, this ain't Saturday night. You can't have a hangout. You're talking too loud.
I don't have to worry about that. I'm happily single.
Can't live with him. Can't live without him.
I'm proving you can live without him.
Yeah. Told my sons, I'm like, you guys need to have lots of fun and lots of success in your life, and then when you get bored of all that, then get married.
Oh, hindsight is 2020.
That's right. Well, all right, guys. Appreciate y'all jumping on. That was fun.
Yeah, I would have been on earlier, but one of my cats got stuck behind my bookcase, and that was a lot of fun.
Well, you should have made a video. You would have had 1 million views.
Oh, that's so true.
I wasn't thinking about that. I was just thinking about moving all the DVDs off the frickin' bookshelf so I could move the bookshelf.
You know how I kept my family from getting a cat? I told them I would abuse it and make YouTube videos to make lots of money off of it, and so therefore they didn't get a cat. Because I'm a dog lover, I'm not a cat lover.
Oh, I love dogs. I just don't own any.
No, we got a new cat recently, and it's a real life Tigger. It actually thinks it's Spider-Man. I could go into great detail, but this cat is just, I love it. It's great. This thing does not like to touch the ground, and it loves to defy gravity, and it just floats through a room like nothing I've ever seen.
We had cats when I was a kid, and they were cool. My brother would throw them up in the air and say, "Look, they land on their feet." And I would say, "Come on, dude, that's not funny." He would put clothespins on their tail, and he was abusive, and he was a nice guy, but he was. I shouldn't talk about my brother like that, but anyway, because he's not alive anymore. But he was a good brother. But now I feel like I'm going to be haunted tonight. Oh, you said your brother was bad. But
well, Tony, I got 5 cats, so.
Oh, they're cool. I just can't. I don't know. We've got a dog, and I just don't know. The dogs, to me, the dogs are a little. They're not as smart as cats per se, and so you can manipulate them a little easier. Cats just do whatever the heck they want to do.
Oh yeah.
That's all there is to it. They don't care what you say and what you want them to do. They're just going to do whatever they want. And
I will leave you this word of wisdom. Dogs think you are God. Cats think they are God.
Yeah.
No arguing with that one.
All right, guys. I appreciate y'all jumping on.
All right, then. You have a good one.
We'll see y'all.
Bye.